The world did not fall apart overnight. It simply stopped listening. In the glow of a million screens, humanity drifted, each person an island in a sea of digital noise. Prayers became whispers, lost in the clamor of a world that had repurposed its sacred spaces into monuments of distraction. Churches, once filled with song, now echoed with the clatter of coffee cups and the beat of synthetic music. Yet, in the quiet corners of this forgotten faith, a remnant held on. They were ordinary people, gathered not in grand cathedrals, but in humble rooms, their faces illuminated by a hope that defied the darkness outside. They knew the mockery of the world. They felt the sting of being called foolish, outdated. But their trust wasn't in their own strength. It was in a promise, ancient and unshakable. A woman's voice, soft but steady, would often break the silence of their prayers. They mock us, but he promised. An older man, his eyes carrying the weight of a lifetime of faith, would nod and add, the promise was never escape from trouble, it was rescue before wrath. Their comfort was found in weathered pages, in words that seemed to glow with a life of their own, a promise of a gathering, a rescue. The signs were everywhere, screaming in silence. They flickered across news screens, showing wars and rumors of wars. They echoed in the confused teachings filling classrooms, where truth became a matter of opinion. They were etched in the cynical smiles of corrupt leaders, and they groaned in the very fabric of nature itself, as storms raged and the earth trembled. But signs mean nothing to those who refuse to look. While the world scrolled past the headlines, a few looked up. They saw the storm clouds gathering, yet their faces held not just unease, but a flicker of expectant hope. They were watching the sky, waiting for the dawn. Then it happened, not with a bang, but with a profound and sudden silence. The relentless hum of the city ceased. Every screen went dark. Every motion froze. In that suspended moment, a flash of light swept across the globe. It wasn't blinding or violent, but warm, holy, and utterly silent. For the believers, it was a signal, a gentle pull, an irresistible call homeward. Across the world, they paused, a look of profound recognition on their faces. Then, peacefully, they began to rise. There was no chaos, no fear, only a wave of overwhelming relief. Whispers filled the air. Not of panic, but of fulfillment. Jesus, it's time. He kept his word. Their physical forms dissolved, not into nothingness, but into beings of pure light, made whole and complete in an instant. Just as suddenly as it stopped, the world lurched back into motion. A phone clattered to the pavement. A gentle fender bender occurred as a driver simply vanished. Surgeon's scalpel fell onto the sterile floor. Then came the screams. A mother's cry for a child who was there a second ago. A pastor's empty clothes lying in a heap on the church floor. News anchors, their voices trembling with genuine shock, reported the impossible. Millions are missing worldwide. There is no explanation. In a quiet apartment, a man who had often mocked his friend as faith stared at an open Bible left on a coffee table. He picked it up, his hands shaking, and whispered to the empty room. They were right. The rapture was not the end. It was an act of mercy before the beginning of the end. A great rescue before the great judgment. As the dust of confusion began to settle, a new shadow fell over the earth. It was a subtle darkness, a heaviness in the air, a precursor to the storm to come. From the shadows of power, a faceless figure watched, a symbol of the great deception that was now free to rise. The age of grace had closed. The tribulation had begun. But for those who were taken, the story was different. They stood not in shadow, but in radiant light, at peace, their journey over. Before them stood a silhouette of pure love and power. A gentle, firm voice spoke, the voice of their king. I told you I would come for you, because before the king returns to judge the world, he first comes as a bridegroom to claim his bride. Be ready, not afraid.